Hi all, welcome to episode number 14 of the F1 2020 Legend Racing Career. We have Will Buxton here doing us a little interview to start off the trend, so he's going to pick our brains to kind of go over everything. Obviously we have like the summer break coming up as well for like the season break, but durability still obviously being our strong point. Obviously second driver, we've just changed from Korea to De Vries, and I feel at the moment that could be quite a shrewd move, but also the team is kind of settled in quite nicely. Obviously we've won a couple of races, we're driving well, and we just keep our head down. Like, we didn't expect to win any races this season. I didn't even expect any podiums, if I'm honest. I just thought steady points, and well, I had some strong tracks. It's kind of paid out quite well for us. But you're welcome to smash likes, always folks. We much appreciate. Sub to the channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter, G's Legend. Comment down below how your F1 2020 My Team career races are going, if you've been involved in your own. And yeah, like, for us, we're just try to be civilised but sensible. Like, the upgrade we have to kind of, I think for now it's a case of trying to build the resource points, try and get a healthy balance built up. I think that's going to be our big thing between now and kind of like the end of the season, I would say. I'd almost want to say, like, for us, the car needs bits. It's mainly the chassis. Like, the team is not far off being up there. That's what's crazy. Like, the engine power, once that gets done, like say some of the chassis upgrades, couple aero upgrades, couple durability like the durability is like where we pride quite heavily on. It's like the engine, that engine power upgrade, if that happens, we're laughing. Obviously the aero and chassis is where we're weak, but it's power and durability where we are pretty strong. Like, we're one of the best durability teams. Engine, we're like top of the mid, nearly top of the mid teams, as it were, and upgrades are not far off being ready. Like, we've been putting in the effort to get the different elements like resource points up and so forth. We're trying to find all those, and if activities can boost De Vries, for example, or boost up morale or whatever it may be, we're trying to take advantage of it every opportunity we can. But Spa is usually one track where we can have some really good racing or really bad racing. It's usually stems when it's like Le Rouge. Usually when it comes to that, if I can nail, like, if I've got the setup right and I'm consistent, usually Le Rouge I don't bin. Like, that's usually where a lot of people will bin the car. I usually bin the car also around the third sector. It's usually around the third sector. I'm sure it's like the start of it, if memory serves right. Like around here, this kind of section, usually I can be too quick and I'll sometimes catch the strip, or I'll catch the grass or the gravel and I'll go. It's sometimes it happens, but not always. It's usually depends how I've got the car set up at speed, and sometimes I can be a bit too aggressive on the overtakes. Like, it's usual rule of thumb for braking here is like final 100 meters, usually 100 meter braking line. But I expect for Spa we'll probably be having to do a couple laps. Usually we just do one and done. I get the feeling we're going to be doing 2 laps, and that'll get us done. Now, Spa as well is only 11 laps for a 25% race. We could obviously I think it's 22 for 50, and it's like 45 laps whatever for the full race. Now, I've really got to kind of like, I've tried to, like when we did practice, we tried to spend a fair bit of time working on like the setup, just kind of making sure we had one that was good for straight line speed, because that's obviously critical for several sections of this track, but also you've got to factor in for good cornering as well at high speed. I had to think what I wanted to say there for a minute. But all in all, I feel like the car is starting to kind of be more competitive. Like, I just need to work more on like setups. I feel that's what I need to kind of put the time in. If I can nail down the setups, then like difficulty I can keep ramping up. Like Spa's probably like as I've been doing a lot through practice now, I've been working on like the difficulty, so I'll generally start at around like 80 and 90, see where I have to fine tune it. So we got a second lap out there and we got into Q2 pretty comfortably in the end, actually 10th in the end. I think the first lap would have still done us enough. De Vries was just unlucky, they're missing out just marginally, so he definitely had good pace there, just a bit unlucky in the end. But Q2, just same again, get out there, have a good strong lap, try and get into Q3. Like Spa is one of these tracks, it's like if you've got good engine power with a good setup, like as long as you don't make any mistakes, it's like any track, you can be up there in contention. And I feel at this stage now is where I feel like points shouldn't be like a given, I should be like consistent for points. I know some of these tracks still to come, like Singapore and Sochi, I don't necessarily expect points from them because they're not strong circuits for me. So it's like Belgium, Monza, Suzuka, these are the kind of tracks where I'd be hoping to make the difference, as it were. So fairly steady first lap round. I'll probably will do a second lap, I think, just to do better, because we did that last time, and usually I feel 2 laps is what you do need, because it's such a long track that to be consistent you do sometimes need that second lap to go around and just produce a bit more consistency. But I have faith in myself, in my ability. But coming to start finish, final couple bends now, coming to pits, start finish line, see where this puts us after our first lap, open the DRS has failed. Like, that was a strong first lap, won't deny, but I would definitely say that there's room for improvement. Like, definite room for improvement, especially when we're in the green already. Just a case of open up the DRS, get the ERS opened, and just flow, just let the car make all inroads possible. There's definite room, as I said, for improvement regardless, but I've just got to keep my head down. And like Spa as well, for me, is one of these circuits where if the power's there, the only time I'll really take them is pretty much from La Rouge to the end of the first sector. Like, that's pretty much the only time I'll be able to take them. Like here on, like, saying that, the only other real time that I could take cars is like the final sector, I would say, now that I think about it. Like, the final sector is like between the start of the first sector and like basically the last bend is pretty much where you take them. Like this stretch here, if you're flat out and able to just overtake them, whether it be the inside or the outside, and if you're just as late as possible on your brake but just make enough that you're not going to overcook it, you've got a chance. Like, we're well on the green here. We're nearly in slipstream as well, which would have been quite handy. We went out quicker and we got ourselves into Q3, and I would definitely take that. A bit quicker on Ricardo, which makes all the difference. But we technically, Q2 put us best of the rest, as it were, because obviously Mercedes, Ferraris and Red Bulls. But Q3 for us is just now a bonus. It's just a case of getting in a good position and set ourselves up nicely for a good race. That's kind of all we want to focus on now. But it's going to be hard regardless, I would say, because 11 laps on the longest track in the calendar can take out on you, because there's quite a lot of variables to factor. Like, this is probably the one type of circuit, I will be honest, if safety car happens early, then I may go bold and try and get the mediums out quick and try and last the rest of the race on the mediums, especially if no one else pits, because sometimes the AI may or may not pit early if they feel that it's not viable at that stage. We nearly binned it there actually, which held that. I think that was like the front end just catching like the rumble strip. But regardless, that's what I can't afford to do in the race. I can get away with it in qualifying, but I can't get away with it in the race. Because if you make that mistake, you're going to bin it and you'll be retired. Whereas in qualifying, if you do it in qualifying, you'd end up back of the grid. But I can see us definitely doing a second lap, and just because I felt like there's a few mistakes there, but there's always room for improvement. You want to get as high up the grid as possible, but not too high where you're suddenly breaking all kind of like records, as it were. But we'll see what happens, and if we can get a good second lap, we'll take it. So end of Q3 puts us in 4th, which is to Leclerc, and the Red Bull's definitely not as fluid this time, but I'm not going to complain. We have got ourselves in a very strong position, and Claire's obviously want to get the inside scoop, as it were, on us. But we are definitely in a good position for this race now. I wouldn't say a podium finish, because I feel the Ferraris and the Red Bulls will definitely compete with us. It's just a case of maybe just take it a lap at a time and kind of gauge it for there, because it's going to be difficult. It's going to be really, really difficult. And I'm never, you never discount anything, but 19 to 20 in the rivalry between us and Ricardo, we were 2 to their 1, made a big difference. Acclaim edging ever closer. De Vries nearly up a level, we're nearly up a level, so we're looking good. But we'll let Crofty do his intro, and then we'll get into the race, and hopefully a good result from here with the clouds in the sky. Rain was not forecast, but it was just going to be a very overcast, cloudy day.
In 1992, Spa-Francorchamps today, a circuit that spans 4.35 miles. There are tons of elevation changes along the way too. 19 corners making up this circuit, with 9 of those to the right and the remaining 10 to the left. This track is a great one for fans of pure speed. The average lap speed comes close to a whopping 145 miles an hour. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Vettel, Graham, Max Verstappen and Albon, Leclerc, Sainz, Ricciardo and Esteban Ocon, Perez, Kvyat, Lance Stroll and Norris, Gasly, Giovinazzi, Kimi Raikkonen and Nick de Vries, Magnussen, Grosjean, Latifi and George Russell ends our grid lineup. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Softs and then the mediums for our strategy. We're going to try and be wise with our fuel, have it a little bit lighter, because I think at the same time we'll be able to kind of dodge away everything like with that. So I'll start off the Belgian Grand Prix. We're going to bomb down the inside, try and get the early lead. We've went and maybe overcooked it just a little. Hamilton got out pretty much on point. Bottas and Hamilton are on mediums, so right away we kind of want a good start, but I can't see it happening because Hamilton and Bottas are literally breathing down us, and Bottas is away. We ain't catching up no matter what we try. Now the Ferrari of Vettel and Verstappen's Red Bull just kind of bombing both sides. We were in the middle of that. We could have easily gone, so it was like 3 wide right away, and that just kind of put us under some pressure. Oh, yellow flag, green flag, have we got a safety car already? Or is it? Nope. That'll be all we need, because then 10 laps on mediums could be chaos. To be honest, I wouldn't put it past the game at the same time if that happened. 10 laps on mediums in these conditions, could I do it? Maybe. I suppose you just have to get in and out quick. And it would throw everyone off that's on softs, because Hamilton and Bottas would be the only ones that would have to stay out, because I doubt they would last 10 laps on soft tyres. But at the moment we're sitting third, we're sitting comfortable, just keep our head down, do nothing silly, and get ourselves kind of settled in. On way to go. Right, this is a chance to get a few. Nothing silly, nothing silly, nothing silly, nothing silly, please, game. God, that was close. Just put through the back end there. Get the DRS and the ERS, hoping I'm going to try and go down then. Oh, we've got a safety car. Yeah, yellow flag, green flag. Oh, somebody's out. Yep, typical. Safety flag comes just in time as the overtake. So we've been working our way through still working our way through this field. We've overcooked it here, haven't we? And a right battle here. Right, a collision? I didn't hit him, he didn't hit me. Alright game, whatever. See, now that undercutting fuel, it might just pay off simply because we saved the fuel during the safety car. So we're going to be burning every last ounce of it and holding every, like, as long as we do nothing silly, we've got this. Car's seeing a bit of wear, but I feel we've got it in our grasp here. Like 2 laps, a lap and a half. But it's safe to say been a very different race to usual. Spa has definitely been dominated by that safety car kind of earlier on. It kind of hurt the flow of the race, I would say, where I think we were maybe not in the strongest of positions at the time, and it just played into our favour. But regardless, I'll just get on with it. But Albon and Verstappen, definitely not out of it yet. Not out of it by any stretch of the imagination, because their straight line speed has shown in this race that they can catch us up pretty quickly. And there's at least more than one car right behind us. I think there's at least 3 or 4 kind of bearing down on us. DRS are nailed for the final lap, so this is going to be like a 1 lap shootout. We could finish 3rd, we could finish maybe as low as what, like 8th, 9th maybe, if people are just bearing down on us. So we just have to not bin on LaRouge. Oh, we've maybe lost a bit of speed there, that might have just cost us. No. I'm saying that nobody's coming hot enough, so we've maybe got away with it. Leclerc's coming in hot though. Leclerc is coming in hot. But we're still a decent amount ahead though. Well, everyone, they're all fighting each other, so that's helping us. Like Leclerc, Albon, Verstappen, whoever else is in that kind of battle, they're all ebbing and flowing, and it's just giving us the chance to just kind of keep where we are. We're the ones that are benefiting most from this. Obviously, Bottas and Hamilton are long gone. You'd need them to have like mechanical issues now, which I kind of don't see happening, or they take each other out or whatever. That would be a right laugh. That would be hilarious. Fuel starting to flare up just a little bit. I'm just trying to keep my wits together, make sure I'm not burning the fuel too much. Like, I know I've got enough that should get us to the end, but I don't want to take that chance. We don't want a Silverstone issue again. So Bottas has won from Hamilton, and then we come in, get ourselves our latest podium of the season. Great race that in the end. Safety car definitely played into our favour, and I'll take that. It's a good little race that in the end. Definitely a lot of positives to take, but Spa just doing us a big favour in the end. I think if that safety car hadn't happened, I don't think we'd have got a podium, because the race was starting to just kind of tighten up against us. Like, we'd have picked through the field enough, but not enough to get just push a podium. But we'll take that, and after some scrappy it was like some scrappy driving there, but we will take it. But Bottas definitely kind of keeping pressure on Hamilton and everyone else to kind of for the title. So this is definitely not over by any stretch of the imagination. But long way to go still. Monza's the big one for us, I think, now. Determines where we will maybe finish this season. But some penalties on the across the board there, and that's interesting. So everyone that was suddenly right up behind us has fallen down the grid because of various penalties. Interesting. I was not aware of that. And De Vries got a few spots in at the bargain as well. Yeah, that was kind of a bit crazy. Obviously we got like the nudge on Alba. It was apparently a collision with Alba, and just must have been like a minor nudge, but he didn't hit me and I didn't hit him. But hey ho, definitely an interesting penalties across the board, but we will not complain. We really want to benefit from the race. But let me know, folks, in the comments below how your races have been going. Have you been doing well with your team? What difficulties you rock with? How's any teams been standing out other than the usual teams? And obviously who's your second driver and how are they doing? So if you smash like always, folks, sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitch, G the Legend, and I will catch you all later.